thought he was biting you.
Kissing! You stoned?
It's a long story.
I thought he was biting her.
Kissing her. All
It's
right.
a long story.
All right. Welcome to Screams and Streams, the podcast that looks at the best and worst horror movies as rated on Rotten Tomatoes from 1970 onwards. I'm your host, Sam, and with me are my co-hosts,
Mike
and
Chad.
Be sure to check us out on Instagram. Our handle is @ScreamStreamPod. Also, check out our website, screamsandstreams.com, for more information about the films we're looking at. Just a warning, if you don't like spoilers, we recommend that you stop listening now, check out the film, and rejoin us for our discussion. Today, we're going to be moving ahead in our decades because we're very excited for the 28 Years Later coming out at the end of this month. Woo! So we decided to look at 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later leading up to this film. So we're very excited for that. So today, we're looking at Danny Boyle's 2002 film, 28 Days Later. It scored 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. So let's get into it. Chad, what's our summary?
Okay. A group of misguided animal rights activists free a caged chimp infected with the rage virus from a medical research lab. When London bike courier Jim, also known as Cillian Murphy.
Yes.
Is he a bike courier?
Yeah,
Oh,
he is. Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah.
He says it later on because they ask, so what do you do? And are you a doctor? And he's like,
When
"No,
he's wearing the...
Yeah,
he's got
he's
the
like,
scrubs,
no, I'm
yeah.
a bike courier. And they're like, shit, why did we save you?
Thought you were a doctor,
Yeah.
but...
Jim wakes up from a coma a month after he finds his city all but deserted. On the run from the zombie-like victims of the rage virus, Jim stumbles upon a group of survivors, including Selena and a cab driver, and joins them on a perilous journey to what he hopes will be safety.
Yep.
Excellent.
I think
Great. That's a pretty good
that's it.
summary.
Yeah.
Well, it's better than the short one on
What's the short one?
IMDb. It's just 4 weeks after a mysterious, incurable virus spreads throughout the United Kingdom, a handful of survivors try to find sanctuary.
Also correct, but
Yeah.
very vague.
Yeah.
People do stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people did stuff.
The movie.
I also liked the cab driver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Selena
Not
and a
funny.
cab
Selena
driver.
and a cab driver.
Perfect. Thanks for that. All right. Now we're going to taste our sinister sip that Mike provided that Chad said looked like sewage. So what are we drinking? Hopefully it tastes better than it looks.
I hope so too, because it pretty much combines every liquid they drink at a moment in this movie. It is the 28 Days de Menthe from the Shaken Not Scared podcast.
Oh, I'm worried it's going to be minty. I don't like
Cheers.
minty drinks.
Cheers.
Tastes like Christmas.
It's minty.
It tastes like
It's like
toothpaste.
Yeah, that. So it's,
Christmas or toothpaste.
Whatever tickles your fancy.
And when I was putting this together, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be like when you drink orange juice right after brushing your teeth," because it is.
That's literally
Yeah.
exactly what it tastes like.
Yep.
1 ounce of creme de menthe, 1.5 ounces of scotch, and 4 ounces of orange juice.
So someone was like, I like this flavor.
I don't mind it.
It's okay.
If you like mint. If you like
I
mint,
don't.
it's good. Yeah.
So-
I wouldn't say it's my favorite of what we've had. Yeah,
not the
it's
worst.
okay.
Yeah.
It's
But
just
I've-
okay. It's a drink that I drink. That I will drink.
I feel like somebody
I
just
might.
watched this movie is like, wait, he drinks orange juice with his parents. Okay, we'll put that in it. They have creme de menthe at Frank's apartment. We'll put that in it. And then Frank gets the scotch from the grocery store. So we'll put that in it. Yay, we've got a drink. Like
That's kind of a fun game, though. I don't know if you'd want to do that. Oh man, there'd be some
there'd be
some
swamp water in
wild,
there.
yeah.
I was going to say a bar
Wild
mat.
cocktails,
bar
yeah.
mat cocktail.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as none of them have sambuca, we're all good.
All right. Thanks for that, Mike. Okay. I'm certain this wasn't the first time you guys have seen this movie. What are our first impressions? Chad.
Yeah, it was not the first time I saw this film. I didn't see it in the theaters, but I did rent it and watch it at home. It's good for a zombie flick. I think it ticks all the boxes. It's fun to watch. It's got some downtime and then picks up again.
Mhm.
There are some intense scenes. I think they build tension very well. I think the camera angles are very well done. And I like the overall look of the film. It doesn't look like a polished
Yeah.
film. It almost looks like it's not found footage, but it's not a polished look. It's
Yeah.
kind of dirty and grainy and rough. And I do like the look of it. So overall, I really enjoyed this film. I think this is the third time I've watched it, and I've enjoyed it each time. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I think it's my third time as well, actually. And I liked it. I think for the same reasons. I really liked that it built tension. And I have a lot of comparisons to the next film, the 28 Weeks Later, to kind of compare and contrast that I'll do when we record that one. But overall, I liked it. I liked how fast they turn. Like it's just quick.
It's
like
quick,
it's not long. No, you're not guessing if someone's infected. They are infected.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked that as well.
What did they say? 20 seconds?
Yeah. It's quick. And I really, really like that. I like the eyes. I thought it was pretty well done. I saw it. I didn't see it in theaters either. I would have been a little bit too young, I think. I think 12. 12. So
I was not 12.
I think I saw it years after. I think I saw it with 28 Weeks Later, like when that came out. So I think I saw it when a teenager, a little bit later. So but overall liked it. I liked it this watch too. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, this is for me as well, third or fourth time seeing it. I did see it in the theater and just remember absolutely loving it. We'll get into it later in the categories, but I loved the way they built the tension in this. I loved the fast zombies.
Yes.
The way it was shot. I'm a huge fan of Danny Boyle as well. And so something about the way he shoots film really captures my interest as well. And this is beautifully shot. It's been a while since the last time I saw it, but rewatching it again, just fully immersed and enjoyed it. And it's interesting because I'd watched it by myself, did all my notes, and then my wife and I were looking for a movie to watch, and she's going to come see 28 Years Later with me when it comes out. She's like, well, let's watch 28 Days Later. I was like, okay, like a day after watching it on my own. I'm like, I will watch it again. So that was my then fourth or fifth time, and still enjoyed it. Like I wasn't like, oh, I saw this yesterday. It's not fun. It still gets me. It still like sends shivers up my spine.
Yeah.
Certain scenes.
All right. Some things never die. Let's spotlight some of the tropes in our Tropes Hall of Shame. I'll go first here. The shy victim becomes the hero. So the teenage girl that, you think is going to be useless and is just like, she becomes the hero at the end.
Right.
She backs the car into everyone, gets the soldiers killed, which was really badass.
Yeah. That was great.
That was awesome.
Is she old enough to drive even? Like,
I don't think it matters at this point.
I'm not saying she needs to abide by the rules.
I think
she's not going to get arrested.
Yeah. I think the postman was teaching her how to drive just in case something
went awry.
Yeah, so
I feel like she was 12 to 14. I think they mentioned her age somewhere, either in the research or the film. Yeah,
she couldn't be older than 14.
No,
maybe 15, but like she was young.
So maybe a learner's. Maybe she had
taking a little drive.
But she did well.
Yeah, she did fantastic. And then one of the characters having a special skill. So, of course, the pharmacist has the meds for everyone and is able to treat everyone and kind of diagnose, oh, you have a headache? Oh, yeah.
Here's some Tylenol. I'm a pharmacist.
That's from the sugar. Like, it's just
that's
really
from the sugar.
I got a shitload of pop, which I'll get into a little bit later.
All pop. Yeah,
all the pop.
All the pop. Because bottled water does not last 28 days.
28 whole days. All right, Mike, what tropes did you have?
My first one is just animal rights activists being wrong at their... And then my next one was a list of rules that will all be broken in the film. It's like, the first thing you do is never go off on your own.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Also, never travel at night, which we see.
Yeah. So funny.
All the things broken. Yeah.
Chad, what about you?
Well, I had animal experiments, always chimps.
Yeah.
Right. And just to piggyback off your trope there, Mike, was won't listen to reason. Like the guy says, they've been infected with rage.
Yeah.
It's highly contagious. If they get free, it's a problem. And they're like, let him loose. And then so they just open the cage and this thing just like goes after them. And it's like, I can just see them just, oh shit.
Whoops.
Uh-oh.
It's the whole like, don't press the big red button.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is this a test?
But also to even like go with like a wild animal and just let it free like that without like, it's different if you can like push a button and unlock the cages and they go out into the forest. But you're trapped in there with them. And like,
and they're visibly upset.
Yes,
like,
they're not happy.
Smashing on the glass and stuff. If I walked in there, I'd be like, whoa, this is a little much. I think we come back at dinner time when they're all kind of calm and they've eaten and they're...
We'll come back with some tranquilizer.
They'll be so appreciative of freedom. They'll hug us and go away.
Yeah, they're just monkeys. They
really had no plan other than to release them into London, I guess.
There was no plan whatsoever. They broke in. The guy says, don't do this. They do it. And then it's like, oh, now the world is ending.
Yeah. Yep. God.
So those were my two. My first two, anyway.
I also I find this a lot. There's always a man and a daughter surviving in a lot of these, especially zombie apocalypse or like post-apocalyptic ones. And then the roads were perfectly clear, but shouldn't be.
I put that too.
Yeah, so it's like there's going to
be more dead traffic.
Yeah, because they're going to get like attacked jumping through their cars and stuff like that, or there's going to be car accidents and that kind of thing. But like everything's clear.
Yeah, in the director's commentary, they talked about that, like how London is completely empty on the streets, and Alex Garland and Danny Boyle both sort of said like, we acknowledge that this would never look like that, but they liked the eeriness that it created, so they just went for the empty aesthetic, even though they knew that it wouldn't actually be that way.
It would have been chaos because everybody would have been trying to leave the city, and it would have been gridlock, and then
it'd be more like Life Forces.
Yes.
That film did it better.
Oh God. Let's not.
No, let's keep that in the past. Yeah, I did like that the roads were empty. Like I did like the scenery, and when he's walking around and like there's literally nothing there, because it's kind of like, what the fuck, instead of seeing all the carnage and whatever. Right?
Yeah.
So I did like it. But Mike, did you have any others?
Yeah, I did. Watching old family videos and then saying your part. So Jim is watching the video and then it's like, oh, one's empty. Like he says what he says on the film.
Oh yeah.
And then every zombie film, you've got to do it. You have to travel through a tunnel.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
yep. Always a tunnel. Never goes well.
Yeah.
Never goes well.
Never. Chad, any others?
Oh, I just had, and I don't know why I compared this to Star Wars, but I was like, one's the Jedi and one's the Padawan who becomes the Jedi. So, she's telling him all this stuff, and then he all of a sudden becomes the badass. And then I had another one that was lots of rain. When things are going bad, it starts to rain.
Yep, every single time.
Yeah. And torrential, as you pointed out before.
Lots of it. Yeah, it just opens up and it just comes, like, it does create a cool look, especially they do it so well in this film.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about that later. It does create a cool look, but it is just done in every single horror film, it seems.
Yeah. And of course, it's the drought up to it, right? Like,
there's no...
Yeah.
Like they even go to the rooftop and are like, well, it hasn't rained for what did they say, 4 weeks or something? Like pretty much since it's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden all the water comes.
It's the baptism.
Yeah. Mike, did you have one more?
Yeah. It's the repopulate the world. Right?
We
need the women, and the line with Chris Eccleston's just like, I promised them women.
So creepy.
Yeah, so gross. Chad, did you have any others?
Yeah, I had one where it was the radio, like, come to safety, and then you show up, and it's again kind of piggybacking off yours, where it's like, I promised I'd bring them women. He's like, come to safety, and then they realize that, oh, these guys are messed up, and there's no real safety. They're just all in this house, and super creepy.
Yeah. Sanctuary is not sanctuary.
Yeah.
All right. Our characters in our film had choices, and some of them made the wrong ones. So welcome to Don't Go Back in the House. So what would have prevented this whole film from ensuing? Chad.
It would be, don't release the chimps into the freaking world. When the guy says they've been injected with a virus called rage, you're like, oh, well, maybe we don't fuck with these guys.
That was mine as well.
Easy,
Yeah, maybe don't do that. Mike, what did you have?
The only other one I had was like, at nighttime, don't light a candle, right? It's It's like World War II, like light a cigarette at night so the snipers can find you. Like,
that's right.
Yeah.
Let's use these binoculars in the middle of the day.
I had, if no one left Jim a key to get out.
Oh.
Like, I guess he could probably break out or that kind of thing. But because he had the key slipped under the the door there. Or if he just like died. Like, I don't know why he was safe in the hospital, why they weren't able to bust down the door in the hospital to kill him.
Yeah.
One review I read talked about how that just doesn't work, where like he's on IV, but his IV bag would have been drained by the end of day 1.
Yes.
For sure.
Yep.
And if he's been there for 28 days, like he's had no fluid or nourishment.
There's no power.
He is starved to death. Like,
yes. There's no way. Yeah.
And
so I guess if he just died.
So the don't go back in this house in the movie is just let the guy die.
Just let him die and assume he's dead.
And maybe a sheet. Like,
Yes.
did they just need him sprawled out there?
Yes,
the
they
whole
did.
time.
Yes,
Yeah, I
they
know.
did. Yes, they did.
I mean, it's chilly,
You died from starvation.
butt naked, and he's just out there like flapping in the breeze. I just don't.
Not even. Yeah, I never even thought like no hospital gown.
No, nothing. They don't give him nothing. They just like put him on the bed naked and like plug him in, and then away they go. It's like,
Here's your keys. Good luck.
twig and berries just hanging out. I was like, when they did that over the head shot, I was like, he's fucking naked? Like, what? Like, don't they put clothes on him?
Nope, not the bike couriers.
Like, I've been to the hospital like a few times, and usually the gown opens in the back.
No.
Yeah, never have I just laid in bed buck naked.
No.
Someone was like, you don't get clothes, but here's some keys. Among the silence and the screams, a few lines still echo. Here are our one-liners. I'm going to start us off here. I didn't have much for one-liners, if I'm honest. One that I had was when Selena gives Jim some Valium to help him go to sleep. He says, "Oh, great, Valium. Not only will we be able to sleep, but if we're attacked in the middle of the night, we won't even care."
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if you guys have ever taken Valium, but that puts
I've
you,
never taken
puts
Valium,
you
no.
right the fuck
I was
out.
thinking about that. I'm like, during a zombie apocalypse, the last thing you want to be is dosed
Drugged.
with Valium. Like,
Yeah.
here they come.
Oh, shit.
Really drugged with anything. Like,
Right.
yeah, like even if you're like, oh, there were some spare gummies in this guy's drawer, and you pop a couple of those, you don't really want to fight.
I guess if you're wanting to off yourself.
I think the best thing to do would be like just get kind of slightly baked or slightly buzzed on whiskey, because then you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Get that rye rage.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Not the rage virus.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Mike, you had quite a few. Can you give us your first two?
My first one was not a line, but it was on the wall when Jim goes into the church. And it says, "Repent.
Oh, yeah.
The end is extremely fucking nigh."
Yeah.
I thought that was good. And then I liked when Selena and Jim are walking after they've lost Mark, and she's like, "So what are you thinking? Do you want us to find a cure and save the world, or just fall in love and fuck?" And I was like, yeah, because that's all any guy in an apocalypse like, will save the world or hot girl. Let's do this.
We're going to have to repopulate the world because I don't know if you know this, but
Every girl in junior high said, not if I was the last guy in the world.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
guess
Brad,
what,
guess
baby?
what? Here it is.
Here it is. And here it really is.
You get all of this.
The emaciated, like, sickly.
I mean, it is Cillian Murphy, but yeah, he is.
Oh, like, oh, yeah, don't
He's
worry.
very skinny. Oh,
Peaky
no, I'm sure.
Blinders.
Yeah. yeah.
Oh, but this guy, no.
Oh,
I don't know.
some of his other characters, if they were in this film, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Chad.
I had a couple. I had plans are pointless. Staying alive is as good as it gets.
Mm.
And then,
Yeah.
so I'm Frank anyway. I like that. And then my last one was everybody always has to find out if their parents made it, which is another trope. Like it
Yeah.
seems like everybody always, oh, well, I have to go and see. So they go to his family home and they say that, well, they died in peace. You should be grateful. So I like that. And those were my only two. There weren't a lot of quotable things. Definitely not a lot of funny lines in this
No.
film.
No,
None.
no.
Yeah.
None.
So those were the ones that kind of stuck out to me.
Nice. Mike, did you have a few more?
I did, yeah. So another one is, I can't remember what Frank does, but I think I don't know if it's Frank is being controlling or Selena is, but it's just like, oh, it's like going on holidays with your fucking aunt. So I like that one. And then my last one, and I just like the poetic nature of this, but where they're talking about like, you know, do you think it's just us? Do you think it's everywhere? And it's like, well, England was quarantined and right now TVs are playing and planes are flying in the sky and the rest of the world is continuing as fucking normal. It's like, well, England just falls apart and goes to shit. I thought there was beauty in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, time moves on. Even when civilization doesn't, we're going to move on into what doesn't hold up. Chad, you had nothing? Everything held up for you?
Well,
There was judgment in that.
Everything
held up for you?
well, I think that probably we've already addressed it. Like looking back on it, yeah, we've already addressed it. It was the amount of cars left on the highway.
yeah.
Like I think there would be more. And I just don't think like they save this guy, they meet him, they bring him in, and then all of a sudden he's like, I have to go see my parents. And they're all like, okay, well, we're going together.
Yeah.
Whereas I think what's like these guys are all trying to stay alive and they think that's all they can do. It's pretty risky
Yeah.
to set off on this venture. So, and then I had this note where I said the transition, Hannah, is a bit abrupt. I said she is hardcore, then daddy's gone, and she just crumbles. Not sure if.
Oh, because I think she's trying to act all like this doesn't bother me and I can survive and we can do this.
Right, yeah.
And then, she just collapses with the loss of Frank.
Right,
Mm.
yeah. So I can understand that she'd be upset, but she seemed, I guess, stronger than that. So I'm not sure if I just believed that transition as much as it could. It's still very like understandable, but I'm not sure if I believed it. So.
Yeah.
It's hard because like Selena addresses it because I think Jim even sort of makes a comment about it and she's like, she just lost the only family she had. Like Selena,
Right.
There's implications that she had to kill her family.
Yes.
And then Jim has seen his parents go peacefully, but Hannah hasn't had that yet. So I think,
right. And so now she's experiencing that, which everybody else has already
Yeah.
done. So,
Yeah.
Okay. But those were my only ones. Yeah.
All right, Mike, what did you have?
For me, and it's interesting because when I first started to watch this, I was like, oh my God, this looks terrible because the digital filming, they shot on what was good digital cameras in 2002,
Right.
but digital was so new then that if you go back to anything that was shot digitally at that time, it does not hold up.
Yeah.
YouTube videos from the beginning of YouTube look like crap now.
Right.
Right. You'd have a video file on your computer that was like maybe 240 by 240 that back in the day looked great. And now it's like the size of your fingernail and looks like crap. So it didn't hold up and it doesn't, I'm not saying it doesn't hold up as in like it's terrible, but it was just jarring.
Okay.
Yes.
But rewatching the film, I would say it lasted 5 minutes. And then I was fine with the aesthetic. Like you said, it's gritty, it's dirty. It fits what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing. I actually kept trying to switch. I went to go switch the quality
To higher
to higher quality. And I was like, oh, it's the highest. I was like, oh, is it my TV? And then I turned it on and then, like you said, I just kind of got used to it and accepted it. I don't know if I loved it, but I was okay with it. I accepted.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I just liked the way it looked. It was like, for me, it wasn't jarring at all. I was like, oh, it's an apocalypse movie. It needs to look like shit.
Yeah.
It reminded me of
Not like shit, but you know.
Yeah.
I mean.
You'll Sam, you won't get this, but Chad, you would. But in Taiwan, they used to sell VCDs, not DVDs, but VCDs at the gas stations. And the quality of those transfers were acceptable enough because you paid $3 Canadian for a movie.
Yes.
And that's what this felt like. I'm hoping that 28 years does so well that they go back and do some of a digital cleanup to get the contrast at least right, or the saturation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a couple, but kind of like what you said, Chad, we kind of talked about them. They were kind of tropes in itself. So I said the storm at the mansion, animal testing as a whole.
Yeah.
Looked dated, unfortunately. I put in brackets. And then I didn't understand why the supermarket, like I didn't understand how some places had lights.
Yeah.
And some places like the apartment had lights, like they were able to string lights to get them up there. And then the supermarket had lights
like
on.
the Christmas lights, you mean?
Yeah. So why did some places have power and other places don't? Like I know there's generators, but wouldn't that be loud?
Yeah.
And I also didn't really understand, do the zombies, do they don't care about sound or anything? Is that?
No, they do, because when he came in to the church and he said, hey, they all like,
Two stood up and
got up and started chasing him down. So I think they hear it and it alerts them and they run after you.
But they also know that light that's moving means people.
Yeah.
So why wasn't the grocery store swarmed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I don't really get. Cause it was nighttime too, wasn't it?
Yeah. I also didn't get why it wasn't looted to crap. Like it is
should have been.
untouched.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should have been just destroyed. Like they went shopping like nobody had, like everybody just left.
stock,
The last people like finished facing the shelves and then the virus hit.
Yeah. It's like, all right, let's get out of here. Nobody
Let's
take
go
nothing.
home. It was right after they closed, they locked down and whatever.
Yeah.
So those are mine.
Oh, I did have one more. If I
Sorry.
could say.
Yeah, go ahead.
The haircut and the shaving that Cillian Murphy does when he gets it. So I said, first of all, Selena has perfect hair.
Yeah.
Like,
and her armpits are shaved.
Yeah, and it's not overgrown. Like everybody's hair and beard and stuff look, pretty well kept. Yeah. He comes in and he, to use your term, Sam, raw dogs a shave. I don't know if you have ever shaved without anything, not even water.
Yeah.
With a beard that, like your face.
You wouldn't nick yourself once.
No, he would be just covered in cuts.
Yeah.
And then razor burn all over it. So, I mean, it's nitpicky, but it is a real thing. And then he buzzes his head, like he gets right down to
Yeah, it's all evenly.
It's all evenly
Yeah.
buzzed, and you'd need
electric clippers.
Thank you. You need electric
Those.
clippers to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
which
No electricity.
probably they didn't have.
Yeah.
So it's just that.
Yeah, that's a good point, Chad. All right, now we're going to move into our most gratuitous scene. Chad, what was most gratuitous to you?
It was the throwing up of the blood.
Yeah.
Like, they use it a lot, but it does look really good, and
Yeah.
it's pretty disgusting.
I had the monkey lab scene with the monkey cut
yeah.
open on the
Oh,
lab bench.
yeah.
I was
Oh,
like, that's
yeah.
not necessary.
Yeah.
And them all screaming and stuff. I was like, that's
Yeah.
a lot, but I just don't understand why they would let them out. They're clearly
Yeah.
not happy.
Yeah.
Let's like sedate them or something first.
Yes, exactly.
And then I also had the pop product placement, like just
Oh, yeah.
no other drinks available, just a straight up Pepsi.
Yeah.
Like I get dairy wouldn't last, and I said this earlier. Like it's not like bottled water would go bad in 28 days.
No.
So, but no, we got to drink Mr. Pibb or whatever it is.
Mike, what was gratuitous for you?
My first one was the canted camera angles towards the end. Like it was never square. It was never to the horizon. It was always off. And
Yeah.
at first it's like, okay, the world's off and things are off, but it didn't need to be every time.
They did a lot
skew.
of
Yeah.
low angle up at the zombie or Cillian Murphy when he comes and kills or whatever. Like a lot of weird shots. Yeah.
But even at the checkpoint where they're just walking and seeing what's going on before the soldiers get there and before Frank gets infected, Frank is walking and the camera is tilted at a good 10 to 15 degrees off. And it's just like, why? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess it's part of that sort of like it's guerrilla filming. We're making it look like this is the footage we could get. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I liked it in some parts, but others I
Yeah.
didn't at all.
And then my other one is I thought it was well done. I thought it was a great sort of in a movie that's about the rage virus and it's, humans are peaceful, but the rage is the problem. But when Cillian Murphy digs his thumbs into the soldier's eyes
Oh,
when he
man.
kills him, like just like you see him and you assume it's choking, then it pans down. You're like, no, that's at his face. And then they show
Yeah.
his like to the joint, like
Yep.
in that face at all.
Well, they do that in the other one where the dad attacks the mom. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That scene, we'll talk about that in that podcast.
Yeah.
That scene is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It really is. All right. Was it fear crawling under the skin or something else? Time for terrifying or titillating. Mike, what do you have for this category?
So there was nothing titillating in the film, but there was something that this movie does a good job of raising the tension of that. But the scene with the rats in the tunnel when Hannah's under the car.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and the rats
You're
are
taking my, it's just so good. Yeah.
Oh, like of all the images in the scene, because zombies or rage virus may never happen.
Yeah.
But that rat scene, like I could only imagine being trapped under a vehicle with just all of those rats on me. Just,
Yeah. I actually had that first stood the test of time. I really liked that scene. Yeah. It was really good. And Chad, was that yours? You
That
said?
was mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're changing the tire. It was just intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, we already talked about him naked, so I'll skip past that. But for terrifying, the women about to get raped, so
Yeah.
Hannah and
Oh,
Selena,
yeah.
and like her giving Valium to Hannah to like make her not remember, and trying to be
Take
like,
this
take
and you
this,
won't.
you won't
Yeah.
feel it as much, that kind of thing. And they're getting dressed up. I was just like, I felt sick to my stomach.
Yeah. That was a very tough scene to watch.
Yeah, it was brutal. All right, now we're going to look at what stood the test of time. Mike, you just mentioned the rat scene was one of mine. I liked the contrast between the deaths of family members. So how everyone kind of went.
Yeah.
I liked that Jim's parents went by suicide, and I liked the note that they wrote.
Oh,
yeah.
So I don't know. I found that one good. And I like that it kind of contrasted between them. And then I already mentioned before, I really liked their eyes and the quick transformation.
Yeah,
Loved
yeah.
it. Like it's instant, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, like it's happening. So I liked that. Chad.
The transformation I agree with. I remember watching it the first time and my reaction when Frank got the blood in the eye.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I was just
So
like, oh no,
unlucky.
no. And I was like, maybe it's not enough. And then he goes, and I remember being so disappointed when that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Can you imagine too? Like you've done all this, you've survived so
Yeah.
much, and then a fucking drop of blood in your
Yeah.
eyeball
From
You're
some dumbass bird up at the top.
Fucking
Yeah.
And when he's like, I'm sorry, I lost my temper. And it's like, oh, it's going to get so much worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So that scene I really liked. I already mentioned the changing tire scene in the tunnel and all that, but was awesome. And then I also really liked the last scene with the rain
Yeah.
and the confusion and him going through the house and taking out the military.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so those three really, really sold the film for me. I just thought they were just awesome.
Yeah.
I really like that scene too. Like when he's going through the house, I liked when Selena and Hannah think that he's infected because he's so
He's
feral
bloody
and he's covered in blood and he's just gone through it. And and they're like, oh, you're not. Like, I loved that.
Yeah.
And even like when there's the two soldiers and there's the one in the kitchen, the guy's standing at the top of the stairs and it's coming a mile away, but then the other one like sideswipes him.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
So good.
So good.
Yeah.
A lot of these I already actually talked about earlier, but my last one here was I liked the zombies when they were on fire. Running on fire. Like not only are you like you're gonna die, but you're gonna burn too. Like it was crazy, and they're so fast.
Yeah.
So I really like that
the
too.
speed of them. Yeah, but that was also one of the things that I had in Hiding in the Shadows, and I'll address it later. Is like they almost become superheroes.
Yeah,
like they're just fast and aggressive, and there's no backing down. There's no like. I guess you don't get tired when you're in the rage virus, but anyways, we can talk about it later. But it was one of the things I just questioned about that type of zombie.
Mike, did you have any others?
Yeah, I loved the sort of cold open to title card where there's no opening credits. It's just, we see the freeing of the monkeys and then ... or 28 days later, ... cut to Jim waking up in the hospital.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
And it goes from like chaos, like loud, and then it's like silent.
Serene.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I loved, and this sort of goes to like, we've built emotion with Frank and the connection. And so his death is shocking. And so Mark, he gets a monologue. He gets to tell the story of like what's happened to him. So you think, like, we're investing in this guy. And it's like, no, he is the next victim. And suddenly, like, So I like that where it's like, nobody is safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mike, did you have any others?
I just have one last one. Just because I love the film and how it was shot. So I hope I don't steal like back it ups from people later, but when they were driving on the M1 and you have those windmills and just the angle of the road, it was beautifully shot.
Yeah.
I liked the flower field and the way it like dissolved to watercolor. So it's almost like dreamlike. So it's this perfect moment that isn't there.
Yeah.
And then I loved when he's at the blockade and the soldiers are coming to get him and it just pans quickly across his face and his eyes are like grayed over and he looks like a zombie. Like, even though he's not, that is a terrifying image for me. Yeah. I just loved all of that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Despite there being lots of tension and buildup in the film, there were a couple laugh out loud moments for Chad and Mike. So Chad, why don't you start us off with yours?
Well, mine was the one that I used in my one-liners where she says survival is all you can hope for. Like, this is as good as it gets. And he's like, oh, well, I'm Frank anyways.
All right, Mike, what about you?
I liked the lion/drunk giraffe joke.
I almost put that in my one-liners, and then I was like, nah.
What was that one again? Tell me.
A giraffe goes into the bar and gets like just absolutely pissed.
Yeah.
Or a giraffe and a hunter, whatever, go into the bar, and the giraffe gets absolutely pissed and passes out. And the hunter goes to leave, and the bartender's like, hey, you can't leave that lion there. He's like, that's not a lion. It's a giraffe. Just like they don't know if Jim has what the fuck's going on, but he's just seen people running on fire and things exploding. And it's like, I'm just going to start with a joke.
Yeah.
But I like that.
Break the ice.
That he's just like, because they both just stared at him. And then he's like, you guys are completely humorless.
Yeah. He's got a shit sense of humor too. And then the other one I had was when they get into the taxi to leave from the towers and Frank turns on the fare.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I thought that was quite good. And then by the time they get to the gas station, it's at $183.
Oof. All right. Now we're going to move into eerie to ear splitting. Mike, why don't you start us off?
So the first use of sound that I really liked, although I feel it could have had more punch if there wasn't the music actually, but it's the car alarm jump scare.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Where I think it would have been better had it been absolutely silence. And then he touches the car and like it would have scared the shit out of the audience even more.
Yeah.
Danny Boyle did say they added the music because it was a bit too intense in the test audiences when it went from silence.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I would have kept it then.
Yeah, I thought it would have been great. And then I loved the use of Abide With Me being sung like gently and quietly when Jim goes home.
Oh, okay.
Especially because of what that then leads into.
Yeah.
I said I liked the music. I didn't mind. I have more to comment on, I think, to compare it with 28 Weeks Later. When we did that. So I think I'll leave that for now. Chad, what about you?
Well, I like the music in it. I said the music while walking on the bridge is awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. They've kind of made their own anthem.
Yeah.
as far as the music goes, because they use it here, they use it in the next one, and I'm fairly certain they'll use it in the next one coming up. So I enjoyed the music, and I didn't think it was used excessively.
Yeah,
I thought they
same.
used it correctly, and I thought their sound effects were really good. Like when they do the puking sing, and he's like, and they're just all that blood and the way it hits the pavement. They really had their attention to detail on that. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, I would agree. Mike, did you have any others?
Yeah. And it's on the music. And this is something that I've said about this film from the first time I saw it, and rewatching it, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot how well they do this. This doesn't do what every other horror movie does, which is has that build of music, right? There's no the music is building to tell you there's a scare coming. It is silent or just playing at the same level. But then once the attack hits, then we get that like heavy metal riff that is super intense. And I love that about this movie. I love that it either plays with silence or gives no cue.
Yeah.
Or it uses no music, and therefore you, as an audience, you don't get that release of tension.
Yeah. Good point. All right, now we're going to head into our what the fuck moment. Nobody said what the fuck in this film. So we'll move into our back it up moments. For me, I loved the church scene.
Oh, yeah.
I have questions about him being able to overpower the priest, but was that just because the priest would have been so hungry and that's why he was so slow?
Yeah.
Like that's
well,
my
he
one.
knocked him in the head with the cans, didn't he? Like with his bag, didn't he?
Yeah, but then you see, like, he starts off pretty slow though. Like he doesn't full on sprint like the other one. So is it just because they're so hungry at this point that they're like slowing down? Because that was when I didn't really.
Yeah, that's a good.
Because most of them, like, you wouldn't be able to fight them.
I don't know. Yeah, and the director's commentary doesn't talk about. Maybe it's just to like, we haven't seen the zombies run yet, so maybe it's like they'll have him stutter, shake, walk, because that's what we're used to.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then once he hits the priest, it's like, oh, that was a bad idea. And then the sprint. So maybe it was just that, just to like, we're taking you from that type of zombie to what we're gonna do with it. Yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I had the church scene, not just the fight, but also when he says hello, and then the two of them like stare, like how scary is that? Like holy fuck! And he doesn't know what's going on.
And the sound effects too. It's like and then you just hear them running up the stairs. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, crazy. Mike, what was your back it up moment?
Mine was the scene where they go to fuel the car.
Oh yeah.
And again, this is where the rule's broken. Don't go off on your own. And then he goes into the back, and what happens in the back of that gas station is like, in the context of the film, I don't think you really think about it, but then looking back is like, he sees the dead baby.
Oh yeah.
And then he kills the child.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the child's the only thing it's killed everybody else. Right.
Yeah. And when he walks back out and Selena's like, anything happened back there? And he's just like, no. Like he doesn't even want to talk about it yet. And then later when Major West is like, you don't survive this long without killing something. Right. And it's like, he's killed once. Yeah. And it was a kid. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's a really good scene actually. All right. Now we're going to move into hiding in the shadows. Chad, why don't you go first?
Well, I think, and this is what hides in the shadows in most zombie films for me, is I'm confused about the eating and the infecting. Like they're dying because they're starving, right? Yeah. So these things with rage, they want to eat them. So if everything with rage eats all the bodies, then how do these things come back and attack? Yeah, like I can understand if you were just like Frank when he gets the blood in his eye and he's just goes mad and then just starts attacking people. Yeah. But then if he ate all those people, then there would be nothing left to get up and attack. I always had that question in zombie films because some get scratched and they turn, some get bit and they turn. Yeah. But let's just take Walking Dead, for example. In season 3, the mom gets eaten by that zombie. Right. She does not then in turn become a zombie. So then why are all these things just around? If they're going for food and they're eating everything, why are there still so many of them around? Wouldn't they just consume all that they attack?
Yeah, I read an article about the movie where they talked about that because it's the only thing in this movie that but it's one of the things that bothered the reviewer was they're not dead. No, they're not zombies that are now after brains. Yeah, they are humans. So their metabolism rate either gets severely lowered so that they don't starve. Yeah, but they're not craving human flesh, right? Like no, because
they're just attacking.
They're just angry, so they kill. and biting might be part of that. So yeah, this is the thing that it doesn't make sense is, again, just like Jim should have died in the hospital.
Yeah.
They either have to become cannibals or die as well.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't have an answer. That was just what the article was confirming what you're frustrated by.
Well,
not frustrated, but like what you
just
saw.
had a question about, right?
Yeah.
And it's in all zombie films. It's just like if you're going to consume what you like, if I kill a cow and I eat the cow and it's not coming back, right?
Yeah.
So, so I'm just, it was just one of the things that gets me about zombie films.
But I think with zombies, because they are like the reanimated dead, I think there's no need to eat to survive. There's no subsistence requirement with zombies. With this movie, they don't address the subsistence.
No.
Yeah.
No. Like they can attack and kill. Like I get it if they're hitting them over and over and over again, and then maybe they drip blood and then they get infected that way. But then do they come back to life? Like if you kill something, does it come back to life and become one of the rage walkers, or is it just dead? Because it's not a zombie. It is an infected person.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's no dead bodies all over the city either, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. I don't know. Yeah.
Mine is kind of like on that same kind of note.
Anyways.
Mine was on the same kind of note. Like, and you talked about the cow because it goes from monkey, like from chimp to human.
Yeah.
And that's the only,
because the horses aren't infected.
The horses aren't infected, but the bird, are they carriers then? Because the bird then has the blood.
I thought that was the bird pecked and the blood came from
the bird was eating something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then that blood, was it a person on top there?
It was a dead body.
So then it dropped into there. So he was infected, but he was dead.
Yeah.
So then that thing's not coming back because he was dead and has infected blood.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have.
But he wouldn't just sit there and let the bird peck him. He would have probably ripped the bird apart.
Yeah, before the bird even.
Right. Unless he was starving and weak.
Right.
Yeah.
But then that brings up that they need sustenance.
But then they need sustenance. They got to eat what they're attacking.
Yeah, I don't know either.
We're just grilling Mike over here. It's just like,
Mike,
so
tell
Mike,
us more.
tell us.
I listened to one audio commentary. But Danny Boyle and Alex Garland do talk about like they intentionally made it that it only goes through basically primates. So that's why it's the chimps to human, but it will not infect like
anyone else,
chickens or horses
or dogs or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Well, that's one thing.
I know. So they addressed one thing. So
all right, Mike, what did you have?
I had a few. The first one I just noticed because I didn't know where to put it because it wasn't quite LOL because it was quite haunting. But when he's in Piccadilly Circus and they have that barrier and it's covered in all the like contact or missing person things, there's a child's drawing. The camera kind of does go into it. So it's like way off in the corner, but you've got mommy in the window of the house screaming for help. It's crayons. The dad's on the ground and there's blood. And then there's a soldier just shooting at the mommy. And it's just like, mommy, daddy. I'm just like, like, okay, so the kid's traumatized. Fair enough. But then who's like, I'm going to take this kid's drawing and put it on his bulletin board.
There we go.
Have you seen these parents?
Yeah.
And then a detail that I quite liked was the low water in the fish tank. Just to show, like humans in dire straits will still care for animals. And so even though that he's like, you'll have to shave dry, throw the bucket out the window because there's no toilet water to flush, but they still maintain just enough water so that the fish don't die. I like that detail. I think
the fish would have been eaten.
Yeah. Goldfish, like
a little gold.
Nice midnight snack.
But where's all the other animals though? There's like the horses. Where's dogs? Like
you'd think there'd be more dogs.
Be dogs roaming around.
Yeah.
Or cats, like something like they're not going to, they'd find mice and stuff like that to eat, like especially cats, or they'd eat the dead bodies if they're like what the birds were doing.
Yeah. I don't know, but maybe it's like that whole, they sense evil. So they got out of the city.
They all swam across to the mainland.
They're in the fields with the horses and cows. I don't know.
I just want more dogs in any movie, not skinned or dying, preferably. Living till the end. Mike, you had a couple more.
Okay, yeah, I did. This one just more bothered me as a Scotch drinker, but when they're in the grocery store and Jim is just grabbing a bottle off the shelf and Frank's like, no. Like, if you're going to steal a good one. And then he takes Lagavulin off, which is a very peaty Scotch.
Yeah.
And he reads the description and he's like, peaty aftertaste. It's like, no, if you've had Lagavulin, it is punch you in the face peat with a hard peat.
Yeah, it's not subtle. No.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, like, come on, like, get it right.
That's pretty neat.
I'm nitpicky on that one. And the other thing that bothered me, and I think this is almost like every action movie, was those soldiers are firing bullets like they have infinite ammo.
They do that lots in these films.
Yeah. It's like no one else is making ammo. Once you've used all your mortars in the field, you've got nothing.
There's nothing.
Yeah. Like, hey.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
All right. Did another film infect us better? Time to find out with Fright Done Right. Chad, why don't you go first?
I don't think so. I thought this was done well. Like, it is essentially a zombie film, so you can go back to like Night of the Living Dead, or you can go to Dawn of the Dead. All those zombies are slow zombies. When Zack Snyder redid Dawn of the Dead, he incorporated fast zombies, which George Romero didn't like, said he didn't understand how zombies would be fast.
Yeah.
I always thought that zombies that are like coming back from the dead should start fast and then slowly deteriorate and rot and slow down. So as rigor mortis sets in and all that stuff, then they become the slow ones. But at the beginning, they should be almost like they're alive. They're running and getting you. These ones, are just like superheroes. They never tire. They come after you. They can bust through walls. They're crazy. So I don't know if the rage gives you a bit of an extra boost, but I liked how they built the tension, and I liked the fact that it was a disease, which explains why the zombies or why the infected were fast and could come after you instead of like, why is this zombie fast? So I think it was good, and it spawned, another one, and then this next one that we're going to go see. So I think as far as an infected movie, I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, I agree. Mike?
I'm with Chad. For Fright Done Right, I don't think there's anything that compares to this. As you can tell from all my comments as we've gone through all the categories, I loved it. For fast zombies, I think Schneider's Dawn of the Dead does a great job, but this movie, from when I first saw it, has sat with me since. Like I just watched it recently, but like if you asked me 10 weeks ago, like describe scenes from this movie, they still sit in the back of my brain.
Yeah.
So, this is the right Fright.
Nice. Yeah, I think the same thing. I did find not a lot of parallels, but obviously to any kind of zombie movie as a whole. But it started out just like The Walking Dead. The whole series, like the exact same thing. Like even the scenes of walking alone. Yes,
I actually Googled. I was like, when did Walking Dead come out, and when did this come out? And then it was like, so Walking Dead stole this whole beginning section.
It's the same thing. And even when he had the baseball bat, it reminded me a little bit of Negan as well.
Right.
But I still think that this one did it right.
Yeah.
All right, let's go beyond the barricade and dig into our bonus features. I'll start us out. Athletes were casted as the infected because how physical they had to be. Athletes can do things that other people can't. Danny Boyle thought that they would be interesting when it translated into the movements of the infected. So that's my first one. The hospital in the film is a real day hospital. However, it's only open during the week. So on weekends, they actually hire out the building to filmmakers so that they can actually use it, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The money from the filming goes into the hospital's trust fund as well, which I thought was even better.
Very cool. Yeah.
Chad?
I had for the scenes on the motorway, the production got permission to shoot on the M1 on a Sunday morning between 7 and 9 a.m. Police gradually slowed traffic in both directions using 10 cameras. The filmmakers managed to capture a total of 1 minute of usable footage.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Film was shot almost entirely in sequence. Only a few pickups and a few reshoots were shot out of sequence.
Mike?
So I always like to start with the financial information. The budget for this was $8 million and the box office was $82.7 million.
Oh, shit. That's crazy.
Wow.
So it was a juggernaut of a movie.
Wow.
Just some alternate casting. Ewan McGregor was the original choice for Jim, but he and Danny Boyle, who had collaborated on 2 or 3 films previous to this, had a falling out because Ewan McGregor was supposed to be in The Beach, but he got dropped for Leo.
Oh.
And then Ryan Gosling was also considered because he was an unknown at the time and Danny Boyle was going to go for an unknown.
I think he would have been too young.
Yeah. I'm not a
I
fan.
actually like Ryan Gosling. I think he's pretty good, but he wasn't at that time in his career. He was pretty young and skinny.
Yeah.
Like he hadn't bulked up to.
Like, how old is Ryan Gosling?
He's 44 right now. So he would have been 22.
And how old is Cillian Murphy?
Cillian Murphy, 49. So when they filmed this, he was 26. He was still quite young.
So, but he looks older.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a different movie if Ryan Gosling's in it.
Yeah. I could see Ewan McGregor a little bit.
I could see that, yeah.
More so than Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
So Alex Garland and Danny Boyle, they thought the notion of the living dead wanting to eat people's brains was very outdated. He didn't think that it was feasible. So he said that zombie movies tended to be about the fear of nuclear power and its effects on people, but they concluded together that one of the biggest fears in society is the fear of disease, especially a viral apocalypse. And this was kind of during the time as like Ebola as well.
Oh, yeah.
So they were inspired by anthrax and bioterrorism scares that were in London at the time. And that's kind of why they went with this type of disease. So
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good way to explain why, zombies exist. Like, I thought nuclear power was a little... That's dated. Like, you're not going to.
Yeah. And so I think that's really original. So I thought that was kind of cool. Chad, do you have any others?
Yeah. The scene where Jim and Selena celebrate with Frank and Hannah was shot on September 11th, 2001. And Danny Boyle said it felt extremely strange to shoot a celebratory scene on that particular day.
Yeah.
And that's my last one.
Mike, did you have a few more?
For the empty London and empty motorway, or we talked about the empty motorway scenes, but for the empty London scenes, they filmed outside of Downing Street, where, Prime Minister lives and works, which would never happen now, but at the time it was okay. But they set up, shot, and tore down for that scene in 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
To get the shot. Yeah, that was the only way they were allowed to do it. Is like
Got 15 minutes.
The executive producer was talking like, we will do it in 15 minutes. And they did it in 15 minutes.
That's incredible.
That is. That's crazy.
For the empty streets, of course, they had the police blocking the routes and holding back traffic. And for one of the scenes, and I think it's when they're crossing the Thames Bridge towards Parliament and Big Ben, or they held back traffic, and to appease to appease drivers, the quote was like, very attractive women would approach the drivers to say like, we're just shooting a movie. We hope that's okay. And male drivers were more amenable to being delayed in their commute.
Really?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
It's a great idea.
Chad was talking about his he was just telling us about his road rage.
That's right.
Would you have felt better if
I stopped at a red light and someone came up and said, I'm sorry, we're filming a movie. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's
The UK FHM at the time said that the women were topless, but none of my research found that again. So I think that was more just like, it's a men's magazine.
That's right. Yeah.
But it says one cinematographer noted in an interview that there were always angry commuters being held back by police just out of frame and, quote, screaming serious dissent that I won't repeat. So I thought that was pretty good. This movie had a few different alternate endings. It's interesting because Alex Garland wrote the script and then they changed it while filming. And so originally they weren't supposed to meet the military. They were actually supposed to go to the research center where the chimp is at the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
And I'm not going to get into all this. So I was like, I'm not going to get into all the details.
Oh shit, he's got notes on notes.
It's a page in my notebook. But essentially they were under the belief that the cure was there. And so they were going to find the cure. Frank doesn't die. And so he's still alive. And basically they get there, and when they go into the center, they find a room with a locked door, and there's a researcher inside who refuses to open the door. Mm-hmm. And so then they find the room where the chimps were being tortured with the rage videos and that. And they beg and plead and beg and plead. And the guy's like, no, I can't. And then finally he says, okay, I'll tell you the cure. And the only way to cure the virus is a complete blood transfusion.
Oh.
And so they're like, oh, that's a bit ridiculous because there's no way you would get all the blood out. So that's where Alex Garland's like, we can't go this way. But Frank does get infected though, but doesn't die as they're on their way there. So they have him bound because they want to cure Frank for Hannah's sake.
But what? Okay. Yeah,
because they're like, oh, we're going to go find the cure. So we'll bind Frank and bring him with us.
Oh, so he's infected and he was all ragey.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you meant it didn't impact him.
Yeah. Okay. No, he gets infected, but doesn't die. And so then the film ends with they're inside the room with the researcher. Frank is healed. And then it goes to the room where we see the opening of the monkey on the table. But this time it's Jim on the table infected with rage. So he sacrificed himself to save his Frank.
Blood. Oh,
yeah.
So that's kind of cool. I don't love the full blood transfusion.
Yeah, because it's impossible. Again, Alex Garland's like, you wouldn't get every drop. If we're going to establish that a drop or a bit of saliva, then we couldn't go with that. The other two, they go to the hospital. They try to revive Jim. He dies. And the film ends with Hannah and Selena just walking out of the hospital and cuts to black.
Okay.
And the other one was they walk out of the hospital. And then the end scene at the cottage is Hannah and Selena putting out the hello sign with no Jim.
Oh.
So those were the alternate endings for it.
I liked the ending that
Yeah,
was.
so did I.
I
think
thought
so.
it was good.
Yeah. And alternate titles, I mean, they're not great because 28 Days Later
Yes.
translates very easily to
Yeah,
every
yeah,
language in the world. But Argentina just called it extermination and
Okay.
Mexico called it devastation.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Devastation.
All right, then.
is-
Yeah.
All right. Would we endure it again or let the rage virus win? Here's our watchability scale. Mike, why don't you go first?
I feel like the way I've talked about it, everyone's expecting me to give it the 10, and it's up there. I think this is a 9 for me. I think it is great. It is definitely worth watching. I think we've poked a few like questions into it about sort of some of the believability in the story. So that just brings it down, but not more than that. I think this is definitely worth checking out.
Yeah. I don't think I'd go quite as high. I did really enjoy it. I thought it was really good. I think I'm going to put it as an 8 on the scale. Chad, what about you?
Yeah, that's where I am. I'm going to put it as an 8 just for the questions I had. And I do think it's a really good horror movie and it is definitely worth checking out. But I don't think it's up there in that 9 realm for me. So I'm going to stay at an 8.
Awesome. Thank you very much for listening to us. Remember to follow us on Instagram. We are at ScreamStreamPod. Stop by our website, screamsandstreams.com, where we have information about our episodes, descriptions of our categories, links to our research, our watchability scale, and a page where you can recommend movies you want us to discuss. And please rate, comment on, and subscribe to our show on any of the platforms where you get your podcasts. Until next time, this has been Sam and
Chad.
Mike.
Mike.
Scare you later.